Like that hat. I want to get one like that.
Anti-bad mind. Christmas list. Christopher Hughes, good morning and welcome once again to the Paul Breakfast Show. Of course, you've seen the guys, Paul, Wendell, Richard. I'm the rose among the thorns.
Yes, good morning, gentlemen.
But
Good morning, Mr. Hughes. How are you this morning?
So far, so good.
Where are you this morning?
I went to Tobago for 48 hours, but now I'm back in Trinidad.
Oh, you're still in the Republic?
Yes.
Oh,
I thought
we just wanted to get an update.
I thought you went to Toronto.
We wanted to get an update on what happened since we last spoke last week. I know you had a court case the day following,
Yeah.
and there was an issue with your passport being not in your possession.
Correct.
So,
So
can you
the
give us an
following,
update?
the following day, I was able to get my passport back. They scheduled. The judge actually wanted to make it so that for the next 365 days, I can remain virtual during the short court appearances, but due to some small details, she said she can only do the next date. So as of January 14th, which is my next hearing regarding the sedition charge, I'm allowed to appear virtually. Then I have to reapply for high court again to request that all of my future hearings are done virtually. I guess
high court.
That's where
That
we
high.
sit.
Do you have to be in person for that high court hearing, or will
No,
that be?
I can do that virtually. It's just a matter of going through the application process.
And what's the status of your passport?
So everything's fine as of yesterday. So I'm able to travel, and I will be traveling tomorrow.
Are there conditions apart from the bail issue? Any other issues?
No, and I have no. I haven't had any bail conditions on this whole trip. The only bail condition was that I personally lodge my passport with the high court. That's my only condition.
And it's back in your possession.
Correct, and that condition will remain. So eventually, when I have to come back, I'll have to go through the process once again.
What about the return of your equipment?
No, that's the reason why I didn't just jump on my first flight. I'm fighting to get equipment back. I don't have the means to be spending $6,000 to $10,000 again and again and again. So my lawyers thought, let's give them 2 days to see if they'll be able to provide equipment back.
And I'm presuming you requested to have your equipment back.
Quite a few times.
Yeah. Is there any progress with regard to that?
No, it's again. I think it's just the thorn in the side effect. A cameras themselves, GoPro cameras, they have no internal memory. There's no hidden storage. You don't even have the capability of storing anything without a memory card. Mm-hmm. So, I mean, if you want the files, keep the memory cards, right?
But that's what I was going to ask. I mean, all the DLSR or GoPro cameras now, they have no internal memory. So the evidence that they may be seeking, once you take for processing purposes, you need to take the model, the serial number of the equipment, because all that's part of what I guess they would need for whatever case they're preparing. But the actual evidence that they may be seeking, and take a picture of the device.
But I mean, they've already dropped
the SD card.
The charge has been dropped, right? So what evidence are they seeking?
Which charge? The sedition charge has been dropped?
Money laundering.
Remember, the seizing of this equipment was when he came back for the case, Paul.
Right. So it's been twice, and I understand the sedition charges. First of all, I don't understand. It's been 3 months now. They've had plenty of time to make copies of whatever was required from them. But I mean, regarding this newer money laundering charge, they took, again, almost $10,000 in equipment. That charge was dropped, but no, I haven't regained access to all the items that they've taken.
So it's two sets of equipment they took from you?
Yes.
The first one with the sedition charge,
Mm-hmm.
and then the second one with the money laundering charge. But if the money laundering charge has been dropped, what have they told you regarding the equipment related to that?
Yeah, I get different answers from different people, but the bottom line is I don't have access to the equipment. Some of them, 2 Fridays ago, I heard, yes, I'll get it Friday. Then I heard Monday, then possibly Tuesday. Then we have no idea, Mr. Hughes. And now nobody will give me a straightforward answer.
Who is the person? Who are the people who are communicating this to you, Mr. Hughes?
The detectives that were the ones interrogating me. Secondly, I went to the physical location, the anti-gang unit, to see if that would help. But I mean, the response over and over again is no. So we've put in a written demand, more than one, but we did one with more urgency, saying I'm about to leave the country for at least the next year. I would appreciate my stuff back. But as of right now, there's been no response.
And what of the deportation issue, the undesirable person issue? What can you give us a status update on that? Are you still on the books for deportation or any of these issues?
No, so the exact terminology I don't recall, but I mean there's sort of like ground rules. The deportation was off the table, but every 10 days that I remain in the country and I'm able to remain up to whatever the given, I think it's 6 months on my passport, I'm allowed to stay. So as long as I do stay, I would have to check in every 10 days. It's not a court hearing or anything like that. It's just about going to the immigration office and checking in.
Wow. So you are able to leave. Last time we spoke, you said you do not want to be here, so you're going to be out of here.
Yes.
Is it? Can you give us a time, a date? Just
Tomorrow.
Is that tomorrow?
Yeah, tomorrow I'm leaving.
Tomorrow.
So whether or not you get your equipment, you're leaving tomorrow.
Yeah, I need to get back to my family.
Has there been any communication from the Canadian embassy?
No, not with me directly. No. Well, again, since our last call, no. Like since I've spoken to you gentlemen last, no.
Mm-hmm. So your next case, your next court appearance on the sedition charge is January next year.
That's correct. Yes.
Which you can appear virtually on.
Yes. It's just like hopefully it's a collecting of disclosure evidence against me. So I mean those are very brief hearings, but that would be the next one, January 14th.
And you have an attorney representing you in that particular matter?
As of right this second, I don't. I've been the last two appearances. I've appeared myself.
Oh, okay.
So you have any attorneys representing you? Because there's nothing else that you need attorneys for.
Here's the very human response. I've had many senior counsels raise their hand and say they want to help me. I am not confident, and this is no disrespect to anybody in particular, as to what their motives are. So before I decide on, I don't want to keep hiring and firing lawyers. It's not helpful for anyone. As of this time, there's no need for a lawyer. Actually, I'm learning a lot, and I'm having. It's almost like I'm back in school. I'm learning about the process, and I'm enjoying to learn about the process. Now, if this ever goes to trial, I am confident I will have a lawyer that's going to be assisting me in my defense. Yes, but right now, no.
Yeah. Are you suspicious then, because of what you just said, that there are a lot of senior counsels raising their hand to represent you? Are you apprehensive because you may feel that they might want to make a political issue out of it? Is that the reason why you're apprehensive?
That could be something to do with it, but more so.
Are they doing it pro bono or no?
Yes, the people that have offered pro bono, but it's almost like the used car salesman approach. It's like, let me show you this beautiful shiny car, but once you buy it, a wheel's falling off, and it doesn't sound quite as sweet as it did when you first looked at it.
I love that, Anna.
This is going to take some time, right? And I know that I'm not in a rush. And again, like I don't want to say I'm enjoying it, like I'm enjoying it, but I like to learn, and I'm learning the whole process. And I still have a team of very smart individuals around me, not only in this country. So, I mean, we brainstorm every day or two. So it's not like I'm going into the conversations blind. I do have help, but I have no legal counsel at the moment for the sedition charge.
Have you done any recording since being?
Yes. It's become difficult because, Trinidad is not like Toronto. I can't just go to the corner store and find the equipment that I'm accustomed to. I think I've uploaded 2 or 3 videos, and I've filmed a couple more. It's just a matter of getting them up.
Very interesting. Have you been able? Is there an option for you to use an attorney that may not be from Trinidad, but who has the ability to practice here from outside of this jurisdiction?
Yeah, I don't know the law pertaining to that, but I mean, I've had people volunteer from around the Caribbean and in Canada. Which I think is great. Again, I just need to look into somebody more. I got to find out more as to what their motive is. If their motive is genuinely to help and fight for my human rights, then of course I would be stupid not to take somebody on. But if their agenda is to push some sort of political movement or to gain popularity for themselves, then I don't look at their pro bono work as being a gift to me. It's more like a gift to themselves. So it's not my lack of appreciation. It's just I need to put more thought into it before I make that decision.
What prompted this mindset? Because you repeated that now. We asked about it. I mean, you used the analogy of a used car salesman earlier on.
Yeah.
Now you seem to be questioning the motives of people volunteering their services to you.
Yeah. I think like through CJ Williams being my first, I guess, official lawyer while detained, and I love the gentleman. He's the kindest, smartest man in the world. To the Canadian Embassy recommending that I get rid of him because he's not senior. So being on record as firing my lawyer before my first appearance, and then moving on to Pamela Elder and her junior counsel, and then firing them due to let's say discrepancies in pricing. I don't want to continue on with that. I don't think it looks good. So just more thought has to, before I sign my name to a lawyer. I want to make sure there's more thought put into it.
Are there attorneys trying to help you get back your equipment? Are there attorneys involved in that?
Well, I've been doing it myself. There have been lawyers that have tried to help me as well. Me getting permission to leave with immigration, it's a document that I filed myself to the chief of immigration, and I got accepted myself. So I'm pretty confident. I'm not the smartest man, but I have smart people around me, and with a little bit of pointing and direction, I'm pretty confident with the equipment. I'm doing the same process that a lawyer would do. I just think I'm doing it a little quicker.
Mr. Hughes, did you just say
send a pre-action protocol letter to the
Yes.
to the state?
Yeah. Mr. Hughes, did you just say that the Canadian Embassy advised you to
Yes.
to get rid of Christian Williams because he was not senior enough?
Yes.
How did that take place? How did that come about?
Well, just a simple recommendation that this, prior to being charged for sedition, I don't even know what the word meant. I've never heard it. I never used it before. Didn't realize, the consequences of being found guilty of sedition. And it all happened so fast. So after 7 days or 6.5 days in jail, when I got my first opportunity at bail, forgive me, the dog's in the back, it came to me about 5 minutes before court where they just simply said, like, we suggest a senior lawyer based on, the time that you're facing in jail. And I took
is it that you would have reached out to the Canadian Embassy then, or they intervened on their own?
Well, intervene sounds like they're disruptive. No, they were, I don't want to say they're a participant, but they were an observer. They're physically there every day. Almost every day I was in holding. Okay. So they would pass by and bring treats and talk and just get me out of the cell, which was very helpful when you're locked in a cell 24 hours a day. Getting out for 30 minutes, I'm grateful, but I mean, nothing more than that.
All right. So Christian has not been a part of the process since?
No, he's been a friend and a support. I'm at his house right now. I can't speak more highly about the man, but no, he has not been part of the process.
What's next with Mr. Hughes?
I have a team of people that are participating. So we're researching, we're trying to find everything we can find in order to get my case thrown out before trial. Even very recently, 2 days ago, we found that only a year ago in the Caribbean, there was a public health approach to crime that included the current prime minister. He was a participant, and there's so many articles about it online where they've come up with a structured approach. It was a 4-step approach. And step 1 is to actually go into these communities with almost like a survey and ask individuals, what is it going to take to bring peace to the community? And if you read the articles on it, they say, be prepared that you're not going to like some of the answers from these people in the community, but the first step in solving any problem involving crime has to be on the ground level. Okay, and this is something very big all across the Caribbean, but Trinidad and Tobago was also a participant. So I mean, just showing that the government has put money into what so-and-so could call a professionals, who is it? University students, who is it? Volunteers or paid workers to walk into communities and ask, how can we bring peace to the community? That is like award-winning ideas where people get trophies and stuff. But if I go through a community and I say, how do we bring peace to the community? No doubt there's going to be some answers that are not liked. I'm not responsible for the people answering, but it just shows that I have the same mindset. The first step in solving the crime problem is asking the people in the community that are most affected or the ones actually doing the crime. So this is something we just found only a year ago. It's happened. It's all over. You can search it, and they're rewarded. And my reward is a sedition. So my group of people are nonstop on the ball to ensure that I get a fair trial and this case is thrown out as soon as possible so I can continue on with my life.
Now, last time we interviewed you, Mr. Hughes, you would have held up the newspaper and showed the front page concerning a crime that was committed. Today, on today's front page, there was a crime committed yesterday against a sitting government minister.
Yes.
What are your thoughts on what happened yesterday?
Yeah, I'm never gonna make fun of a crime. Crime is disgusting. It has to be gone. But why does it take a minister to get robbed for him to show how passionate he is about crime? I've seen his social media posts. Where was that passion? Where was that cry for help over the last 12 months or therefore before? Why is it as humans we only care when we are affected, right? So am I sorry the man got robbed? Of course. Nobody wants to get robbed. Nobody wants that feeling of their hard-earned possessions taken away. Could have been something sentimental to him. But maybe that is sort of the kick in the backside that he required to realize like crime is a problem. Everyday folks have to deal with it every day. I met an older man walking down the street a couple days ago. I didn't have a camera. He had 3 golf balls and he like engineered this thing with shoestrings where the golf ball sort of dangled from the shoestrings. He had a screw through the golf ball, and I knew what it was right away. I'm like, this is some sort of self-defense. The man looked about 80 years old. I said, please sit down with me. I'll buy you a beer. Tell me what's going on. He fears walking down the street, so he's created this thing that it's almost like, I don't know if you know what brass knuckles are. It's like where the balls are on this side, and you can sort of swing it. And although my grandparents have passed away, I looked at this man as like this elderly man that feels he's not even safe walking down the street during the daytime without carrying a weapon. I asked him, has anything happened to you? He said, no, I use this as a deterrent so people know that at least I'm going to fight. And is there anything really sadder than this? So hopefully the minister opens his eyes and realizes there is a problem, and hopefully something is done about it. Not just.
So you mentioned that the minister would have responded, and you think that it's only when it happened to him,
of course,
that he made a statement. The minister has made statements because he's a member of Parliament for St. Joseph on many occasions that I've heard about crime and about situations in the constituency. So that's not an accurate statement.
So I'm saying he's a lot more passionate now. I've watched his social media. He's posted a lot of very personal messages because the crime was committed against him. So he's passionate about it.
You mean
so
since then?
So you saying he wasn't passionate before?
I don't know the man. I don't know enough about him. But there is no doubt the attention is being brought for one reason. He's the minister. I've never heard of the minister before yesterday. It's front page news, you're saying. Everybody's talking about it, include the household that I'm in, right?
But that doesn't mean he hasn't made statements on crime before, though.
No, I'm not. I'm saying he's more passionate now because it's him affected. I don't know enough about his resume.
It's a personal situation. Have you ever been in contact since you're here with any minister, government official, besides your incursion with the criminal justice system?
No.
So no minister has ever spoken to you?
No.
What do you think you've accomplished since landing in Trinidad and Tobago?
Like me, myself, personally?
Yeah.
Very little. I mean, if you look at the whole outlook of what's going on, very little. Eventually, very soon, people will forget about me. I didn't come in with an agenda to accomplish anything. I just film what I see. I document what I see. It's up to smarter people to figure out what to do with that. But it's happened to me before where smarter people have taken my content and done something with it and made a positive impact on communities, whether it be homelessness or drugs or crime.
So don't you think you've been able to, at some level, because this is what some people are saying, that you were able to do what some state machinery had not been able to do, and go into some communities where and interview young men who have admitted they're involved in crime?
Yes.
Isn't that shining some sort of light on the situation in the country that can be considered productive at some level?
I don't know. I'm not are the numbers going down, or the crime or the murders going down? No. So I mean, it depends on how we're going to gauge what productive is.
Mm-hmm.
Right? We'll never be able to know the exact impact of one video.
Well, let's ask you a poll question this morning then, because we asked this morning: do you think that there'll be a greater effort in crime fighting due to the robbery of Minister Terence Yalsing? What are your thoughts?
I think police force will come out with a vengeance for a couple days, just to show that there's an interest in the topic, and by this time next week, everything will be forgotten.
So true. So true.
No different than what happened with me. When I was arrested for sedition, very well planned out, plotted. They went to the areas that I went. Mind you, before I went there with my camera, there's cameras everywhere. There's surveillance cameras in every one of these neighborhoods. They know who has guns. They can follow social media. I was not the first one to show guns in Trinidad, right? I'm the first outsider, maybe, like as an individual that came. Vice did a documentary where there's 10 million plus views, but they're looked at as a media house. I'm not. I'm looked at it as I'm a crazy YouTuber, right? National Geographic, that wonderful yellow magazine that used to be all about Mother Nature. I don't know if you know, one of their best produced programs are all about gangs, the worst gangs around the world. They get awards for this type of stuff. You see, but the government, what they did is they went into the neighborhoods to make it look bad for me so that people would not talk to me moving forward. But they actually did quite the opposite, because people respect me in any community, and my I can go anywhere. I still
What do you mean by that? The government went into the neighborhoods to make it look bad?
Well, like Movant, Second Caledonia, there was guns being shown in the video. So the next day, the title or the topic of the newspaper was 24 arrested because they were seen on video with guns. If you watch my video about Movant and Second Caledonia, I actually peer up with my camera, and there's cameras everywhere. So if those cameras are functioning cameras, they were well aware of the situation in Second Caledonia. The number of murders and shootings, I saw them this week. There was shootings. They didn't need me to acknowledge there's a problem there, but they utilized my platform to make me look bad and say, okay, now we're targeting them immediately, and we make sure that the media is going to cover it. So no different now. They need to save face, and they need to go in there and stand up for the minister, as though they should. But we don't want them to forget about the crime problem when this small problem is solved, right? That's not helping anyone.
All right. Thank you for being with us this morning. We appreciate the update.
No problem.
And safe travels back home tomorrow.
Yes.
But are you at all willing to take some calls, Mr. Hughes?
Yes, most definitely.
Okay.
All right.
All right. So we can do that. 222-8255. That's 222-8255. North Americans, US and Canada, 866-525-1099. All right. That's our numbers directly into our studio.
Yeah. Have you done an interview thus far where you made yourself available to calls or from the public?
I have been on the media quite a bit in my 3 years of YouTube. So yes,
Okay.
I'm sure I have. Yes.
All right.
Has the Canadian media picked up your story, like 680 News or so on?
No.
CFRP?
No.
Good morning. Good morning.
Good morning. Good morning, gentlemen. Good morning, Mr. Hughes.
Yes. Good morning.
Good morning.
I just have one suggestion for you.
Yes.
I don't know why Richard didn't do it, because I know I sense it's on his mind. But my suggestion for you would be to get a lawyer to write an official pre-action protocol letter to the Commissioner of Police and by the extension the police service. I think that will have an immediate result. I have seen it in practice in Trinidad and Tobago already. Nothing is more effective than a lawyer letter, not something you could do or whatever. Nothing is more effective than a lawyer letter, especially a pre-action protocol letter. You're going to get back your stuff within 24 hours after the lawyer gets involved.
So I'm sorry to interrupt you. I appreciate the feedback, but it's been done. That's been done. Like my arrest was 2 weeks ago. We did that the following day with a lawyer. So, I mean, the reason I'm stepping in and doing it myself now is because nothing else has worked. There hasn't been even a response to our request when it's in email format.
It just seems like vindictiveness. If the charges against you have been dropped for the money laundering, your equipment should be returned immediately. The first set for sedition, and you're absolutely right. Even the sedition charges, the flash drivers, the memory cards could have been taken, and the devices could have been returned. It just seems like pure wickedness from the TTPS.
Well, I believe the motive is just to silence me. And I've told them, if somebody would have asked me, Chris, just don't record, I would have stopped recording. Like, I'm not stubborn, but to continually go through this where I have to keep buying new equipment, none of it makes sense to me.
But all they're going to succeed in doing is making you more famous, more successful, and people are going to donate stuff to you now. All they're going to do is make you bigger.
I agree.
Making you bigger. Have a good day, Mr. Hughes. A safe flight back, and thank you, gentlemen, for allowing me this contribution.
All right, no problem. Good morning, call. Oops, easy. All right, a lot of calls coming through here just now. Here we go. Good morning.
Good morning, gentlemen.
Good morning.
I always say I love the platform because this Rob, by the way, I love the platform because it brings education to people. Mr. Chris, I really thought, honestly, before listening to the program today, you was doing it for likes and clicks and shares and so on because, that's how YouTubers make their money, correct? But now after listening to what you're saying, you actually bring up some valid points about Trinidad inefficiencies in the security services. One of which is a very, very pertinent point you just said, is that they have cameras in these places already. And the cameras, they're supposed to be working. So what you are showing and putting out there for the world to see, which is much different, as you said, as from a media house like Vice and National Geographic. You're a person that's now in the trend, that people don't really watch Vice and younger people don't really watch Vice and or National Geographic as it was before. The followers that you have that they're showing out to the world is not the side of Trinidad and Tobago they want people to see, because they have. I've been watching. I see Mark Weens, some other of the YouTubers. They bring here to show the positive side of Trinidad and Tobago, and what you're really doing is showing the negative. But
you know what? Can I interject very quickly? Sure. Mark Weens was paid by the Tourism Board of Trinidad and Tobago to come here and film.
He says it plain as day on his videos.
Right.
He was brought here by the Visit TT. He was
paid big bucks to do it.
And he's paid a lot of money to come to Trinidad. Everything he did here in Trinidad was sponsored, which is why I'm saying it's a good thing I listened to your video, your interview this morning, because I honestly was of the fact that you're just doing this for clicks, because people like Bacchanal, and what you showing is Bacchanal. But the thing that changed my mind to it was, you said, in these areas that you go to, there are police cameras, there are street poles with cameras, there are cameras there already. And if they were working, they already knew what you showed. The difference between the two is that it is not a secret anymore. So now they cannot say, well, we didn't know.
Thank you, Rob.
Yes. If you gentlemen don't mind, because it's a question I get quite often about doing this for views and money. I've never done this on camera here before, but what I've done is I'm opening up my dashboard on YouTube. Right, I'm going to show you. This is over the last 30 days. Let's see if we can see this. This is my earnings in Canadian dollars. Okay, over the last 30 days, $5,000. So I don't know what that's equivalent to. Maybe $3,500 US. My expenses to be here are are over $10,000.
Surpass that.
I've given up, like, without me sounding like an arrogant jerk, I've been successful my whole life. Me doing YouTube is a downgrade. Okay, I'm not doing this for money. If I was doing this for money, I wouldn't be doing YouTube. Now, there are big people that have 100 million views that are doing quite well for themselves, but my kind of content doesn't get that. So there isn't a month that goes by that I'm on YouTube that I'm not losing money. Lucky I've been successful for the rest of my life prior to YouTube, and I have some savings that I'm blowing through very quickly. So for those that think I'm here to make an earning off the problems of Trinidad and Tobago, it's just so far-fetched. It's so delusional. Like, this is not a screenshot that I created. Like, this is me in my studio today, clicking and showing what my earnings are. This is not profitable.
But
right?
Mr. Hughes, I think I should let you know, though, but because you do have a following. Because whilst I thought that Paul and Richard and Steve were handsome, and I was the handsomest of all, your program with us got the most views thus far of all our programs. So it has to be something with you.
No, there's no doubt. But there's no doubt that people watch the content, but it's not profitable, right? My reason for doing it has never been money. How much money would you have to pay me to go to war? I'm going to war because I don't want to say I enjoy war, but I enjoy the documentation of history and things that are happening. Yeah. So I'm not doing this for money. And there's a percentage of people in Trinidad and around the world that say Chris comes here to exploit and make all this money. Yeah. I spend a lot more money than I make. And this is my whole earnings for YouTube for the month.
Yeah. All right, let's grab this call. Good morning.
Yes, good morning.
Morning.
Good morning to Mr. Chris.
Yes, sir. Good morning.
I sympathize with your position, and I hope that everything goes well. But I want to raise something to you.
Yeah.
One of the things is that Mr. When you mentioned that Mr. Dale Singh was more passionate, it is only human nature that when you've been directly affected, that you respond in a different way. And that is only nature. So it's not that he didn't. I don't know if that was what he was saying, but it's not that he didn't care or he cared more now that it happened. But it's only human nature that when something happened to you, because when my children, I used to see people falling down and crying and all kind when the children died, and I used to think, well, why they getting on like that? And when my son and my daughter died, I realized what it was. You have to have real heart to stand for there. And the next thing is, the cameras that we are saying that is installed, those fellas will not do what they do with you in front of those cameras. They select certain times, and you see them on social media displaying guns and all that kind of thing. And what has happened in your case, Mr. Chris, they get an opportunity to display. They get an opportunity to display under and feel protected under you because of the work you're doing. Now, I ain't saying that you're doing anything bad or anything like that, but I'm telling you, the mindset of it is that they're being exposed and they're actually flaunting. If you look at it, so it's not that you would have brought out anything or think that they would know because of what you mean. In Trinidad here, no media person or police cannot go in there to do that. There was a guy they call Wayne Chan.
Yeah, make it quick, call. I have a lot of calls coming through.
Yes, there was a guy they call Wayne Chan who went in St. Paul Street, and he was from prison. And when he went there to do what you know what they told him? The luckiest thing, otherwise your head would have been rolling back down the hill.
But respectfully, that's your opinion, right? That's not factual, because there are plenty of people in jail right now that show their guns in front of those cameras. We hear about it every day. I read the newspaper inside and out every day. People are caught shooting. Most crimes are committed on camera, period. So it's not factual that they don't walk around the community, because they do. People are arrested by it. So I'm not the first one to show guns in these communities.
No, you are not the first.
All right, thank you, caller.
Opportunity. They get an opportunity when somebody like you go to do that. That is what I'm saying.
Thank you. All right, let's keep it short. We have a lot of calls coming through. Good morning, caller.
Hey, morning.
Morning, Mr. Patrick. Go ahead.
Well, Richard is morning,
Mr. Patrick.
Good morning.
It's strange enough to see, as a foreigner, from a different country, come to Trinidad, get yourself involved in some kind of legal battles, and your country, you have nobody to represent it and back you up. You find that strange, brother?
Or you think that if that was also Mr. Patrick,
I mean,
Mr. Patrick, answer me something. Mr. Patrick, answer me something. If you were in New York and you were in trouble like that, because you went filming where you weren't supposed to film, and let's say the New York authorities arrested you, the Trinidad and Tobago embassy would have come to your assistance.
I believe so.
Good luck, Mr. Patrick. Bless you.
I believe when people from Trinidad was in another country, the footballer, and we Trinidad and Tobago government assist the man to come back home. I know we follow the
That's different, Mr. Patrick.
Not with legal troubles.
Yeah. All right. Thank you, Mr. Patrick.
So wait now. What is it, Mr. Hugh? Is that troublemaker?
Nobody ever. That's your words.
Troubles. You're not listening.
Legal troubles, Mr. Patrick. If you driving cross country across the United States and police pull you over and give you a ticket for speeding, you think you could get the embassy to intervene? No, pay a ticket.
Exactly. Good morning.
Like, who's this?
Good morning, our listener from Los Angeles. How are you?
I'm doing pretty good, Steve. Good morning to Wendell. Good morning,
sir. Morning, LA.
So, Mr. Paul Richard, good morning. Good morning. Mr. Paul Richard, I would like to advocate for Wendell to be on the program 5 days a week. That's a suggestion.
I'm going up with that dashboard like Mr. Hughes, with that small money.
Go ahead.
Mr. Hughes, good morning, sir.
Yes, sir. Good morning.
Glad to hear you okay. Everything is well. You get a passport, everything. Mr. Hughes, I don't make political statements. These guys know me. I call this program all the time. I don't make political statements, nothing. But I just hope that when all is said and done, you see this kind of victimization you're going through with this. That's sometimes they say Trinidad is not a real place. People is vexed when they say that. And they see what is going through. I hope when it's all is said and done, and you sue the state, and that's a pay money. You see the people who make these decisions to make these calls. I hope them have to pay and not the taxpayers of this country have to pay. You see this kind of crazy thing. I want to apologize on behalf of the citizens of Trinidad and Tobago for the stuff you're going through. I mean, it's so unfair, bro. I mean, what about I live in abroad? So how would I feel if I go to another country and they treat me like that? I don't, you know what I mean? If they charge you, they drop the charges, give you back your equipment and something. I don't understand that at all. I just hope, I said one more time, I just hope that the people who make this decision to victimize you and do these things, they have to pay with it. When they sue them, they have to pay the lawsuit. Good day, guys, and have a good day.
Yeah, thanks, Ellie. We know that
it's not going to happen.
Good morning.
Yeah, good morning to the Paul family.
Morning.
The guys can hear me.
Yep, in Orlando.
And the Paul family. You know what Mr. Patrick was saying is actually true, because at the end of the day, it comes to general office out here, and that handles the U.S. coast and everything like that, up the coastline, up to the northeast and the northwest coastline. You could go to them, and they do stand up for you no matter what the situation is at hand. I find it very strange also too that the Canadian government is like numb. They're not really reacting to the situation at hand. But what Mr. Patrick did say, you see this Council General that we have here in New York City, he's out there and he's batting for you 1,000,000%. And no matter, he's handling the whole East Coast from Florida all the way up to what you call it, Vermont. All right? You guys stay safe.
Yeah, thanks. But strange enough, in our first interview with Mr. Hughes, he did say that if he was a U.S. citizen, that the reaction would have been different. You did say that, didn't you?
Yeah. Those are my thoughts. We'll never really know, right? But those were my thoughts.
Yes. Yeah.
Good morning.
Morning, gentlemen.
Morning.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Mr. Hughes, listen attentively to what you're saying. I just want to ask a question. Prior to arriving in Trinidad and Tobago, what knowledge did you have of this twin island, and what motivated you to actually come here and do these videos when you had options of other places? So, if it is up, you can answer me those questions.
Yeah, for sure. Trinidad is my country 128. So I chose to go to 127 countries, some of them multiple times before I chose to come to Trinidad. Nothing brought me here other than the fact that I'm trying to see every country in the world. So I didn't come for gangs. When I come to a new country, the first 2 or 3 days is sort of like my research. I call it walk and talk. I just hit the ground and walk for hours and hours and hours and talk to people and just try to come up with a long list of stories I'd like to film. So my first day in Trinidad, you can find it on my YouTube channel. And I walk around Chinatown and I find myself at Duncan Street and Nelson. And some children brought me into the neighborhood where I spoke to, we'll call them people of the community. And that's when the topic came up of like Rasta versus Muslim. I had no prior knowledge, even the numbers gangs. I had no previous knowledge at all, but nothing in particular brought me here. I was well aware of the crime statistics before I came to Trinidad, but that's not the reason I came.
All right, let's take our final call. Good morning.
Good morning, gentlemen.
Good morning.
I want Wendell to retract something he said earlier. This is all that you have to show to get views, Wendell. I'm sorry for all your stations. So retract what you said.
No.
What?
No. Yeah, the interview Mr. User.
Yeah.
I didn't catch it. I'm sorry. I didn't. I don't understand what happened.
It's the immediacy of your no, Wendell.
Mr. Hughes, in addition, well, the crime thing is one thing, but you also said it's a beautiful country, which of course we all agree with because it's our
Yes.
country.
Yes.
What do you think people need to see more of that would have warmed your heart upon coming to this country? What are you impressed by?
If we took somebody to go on YouTube today and just typed in Trinidad and Tobago and counted the number of videos that are uploaded, I would say 99% plus of the videos ever uploaded from this country have nothing to do with gangs or guns. Okay, the biggest culprit of uploading the criminality side of the country would be the news, right? Because companies, media need to put out what's going on. The average vlogger is putting out the food, the tradition, the carnival, the fun time at the beach, and etc. It's just that people remember, like my videos. I've uploaded 35 videos. I think 8 of them were like no-go zones. What about the other ones that I uploaded? What I would say is, if I was in control of the tourism board in Trinidad and Tobago, which I'm not, if I want to sort of decide what kind of content is being uploaded, make the investment. Like the caller called and said, Mark Weens. Mark Weens is a very big YouTuber. He's taken 18 years to get to where he's at, millions and millions of followers. Make the investment. Pay people that you feel will show the good light of your country.
So what videos that you have uploaded that shows the good side of Trinidad and Tobago?
I believe every video shows some good aspects. Well, 2 days ago I uploaded the Bubble Hill, the Rasta camp, which might not be good for tourism, but for locals, they were unaware that there's a community of 250 people living at the top of the mountain.
And had you uploaded that kind of stuff before?
Yes, always.
Okay.
People look at me as a controversial, but I mean, if we were just to go through my list of videos here, I think you'd be surprised. I did a whole big piece. I went to the 3 biggest steel pan yards. It's my least viewed video. Took me the longest to film, where I spent hours and hours with them. I did the
imagine
peace
All
walk.
Stars. I would imagine All Stars was one of those.
All Stars was one of them.
You just came back from Tobago. What did you like about Tobago? What you loved about Tobago? What stood out?
I didn't do much. I didn't have a camera. I used somebody else's camera for a day, but I enjoyed laying down and just relaxing, taking a break from everything.
Mental relief.
Yes.
All right. Chris Hughes, I want to thank you so much for being with us on the Paul Breakfast Show.